He was pulling through the water with his giant hands as he's charging at me. I thought, oh God, he's protecting his kid. He's going to kill me. Hello and welcome back to Talk About Strange. Thank you for joining me here today. I've got probably the best fishing story you've ever heard that I'm about to share with you. In the meantime, kick back, relax, and enjoy. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll share any channel updates that I have to share with you. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I saw Bigfoot teaching his son to fish. Dear Mr. Strange, my name is Mike. I hope you don't mind me endorsing the Mr. Strange name laugh out loud. I heard somebody else use it, and I think it might catch on. Oh boy. I live in Ontario, New York, near Rochester. I have an encounter story I'd like to share with you, but first I want to say I love your channel. I've been watching from close to the very beginning. I watch several other channels as well, but I think yours is the most authentic and good-natured channel out there. Don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the other storytellers, but you seem to have the most fun with it and open conversations with your viewers, and even though you seem to have your own reservations about all this, you don't treat us that have had encounters like we are crazy. It's really hard enough to come forward with this stuff without being ridiculed as it is. That's why you'll be the first person I've ever mentioned this to aside from my best friend. Oh, and by the way, I'm also loving the new thumbnails you're using. Are you making them yourself? What made you come up with them, and are they hard to do? Anyway, let me get started with the story. I really enjoy making them, and I just wanted to add something special to the channel and just have fun with them. So yeah, I'm glad you like them. Thank you very much for that. And I do them myself, yes. All right, here we go. Growing up, I did a lot of hunting. Somewhere along the line, something changed in me. I don't know what it was. I just didn't like killing animals like I used to. I guess it was all those silly kid movies I was subjected to while my kids were growing up. But I still love to fish. That is my jam. On a boat, on land, on a pier, I don't care as long as I am fishing. Have you ever heard of that song, I'm Going to Miss Her, by Brad Paisley? Well, that's me, and she did. One day I came home and she was gone. I looked all around and thought, I'll be damned. I didn't have to come in early after all. Jeez. So I grabbed my lantern and went back out. But don't feel bad. She was some kind of mean. You might be wondering what all this has to do with the story, but I'm getting to that, trust me. This all took place on a beautiful Saturday afternoon around 2 o'clock, August 19th, 2023. Like I was saying, I grabbed my lantern, jumped into my Jeep, and headed back out. Along the way, I even stopped for some crawlers, a 6-pack of Coors Light, and a couple of Slim Jims, laugh out loud. I was driving down 104 thinking to myself, should I go after her? Am I a bad person? Did I do all I could do to make her happy? And then that song came on over the radio, like a sign from God himself, I'm Going to Miss Her by Brad Paisley. I started laughing and laughed all the way to my secret fishing hole. Oh, God. I drove back as far as my Jeep would go and then hiked the rest of the way. I hadn't been night fishing in years. I bet you couldn't guess why. I was whistling like a kid with a pocket full of change in a penny store. It wasn't even dark yet when I got there. I set up my gear for a long, peaceful evening. Sat in my cozy little fishing chair with a beer in the cup holder and a Slim Jim in my pocket waiting for the right moment. So this little river winds back and forth all the way out to Lake Ontario. I have a nice little spot beside an inlet to the river. I can see fairly well up and down the river from there, yet I'm still kind of hidden. The sun was setting behind me, but was still poking through the trees and streaming down across the river on the other side. It was absolutely perfect. I was sitting back with my eyes closed, chewing on a piece of Slim Jim, and still had that song stuck in my head when I heard the first branch snap. My eyes popped open, and I started listening. I thought, oh God, please don't tell me another person's going to come out here and ruin this for me. And then I heard another one break, and I realized it was coming from downriver, but close by. I continued listening and looking around. As it got closer, it got louder. Whatever it was wasn't trying to be quiet about it at all. So I figured it was probably somebody else working their way through the woods or possibly a couple of deer. It stopped when it reached the water's edge. I still didn't see anything from where I was sitting. And then I heard the water splash, and it sounded like a large fish when they jumped. I quietly leaned forward and peeked through the tree line. It was dividing me from the area I was hearing the noises. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw what looked like a monkey walking along the edge of the river. I thought, holy crap, we have wild monkeys living out here? I watched him climb up onto the bank again, so I quickly got my phone out so I could get a picture or maybe even a video. I turned my camera on and leaned back out, but I couldn't see anything. So I stood up and had to hold a tree branch so that I could lean out over the riverbank to get a better look. That's when shit really got interesting. It wasn't a monkey at all. I watched as his father, 7.5, maybe 8 foot tall, tossed what was apparently his son in the river. I could not believe my eyes. I was recording a real life Bigfoot playing with his son. Listen, I thought for sure he would have heard my heart beating. It was pounding so hard with excitement and fear, if I'm being honest. I had no idea how he would react if he saw me. So I was trying not to even breathe or move until the initial shock started to wear off, and then I realized I was leaning a little too far out. I didn't want to be seen. I was about to pull myself back in when he started to look around and was turning his way towards me. I quickly yanked a branch to pull myself up, and it was the worst possible thing I could have done. The branch broke and down I went, splashing into the water, foam, clothes, branch, and all. I scrambled to get to my feet and look for them. I was hoping they just ran off, but that was not the case. The father had jumped into the river and was rushing at me like an angry hippo. The water was up to my chest, but barely waist deep on him. He was pulling through the water with his giant hands as he's charging at me. I thought, oh God, he's protecting his kid. He's going to kill me. I started doing a half-assed backstroke, hoping to get away from him, and was thinking about going under if I had to, but I was afraid he might get me while I was underwater. As luck would have it, his kid started wailing out loud and making all kinds of noise like he was scared. His father stopped dead in his tracks and started looking back and forth between us. I didn't dare move a muscle. I was watching him and trying to look as innocent as I possibly could. And then his son slipped down the bank into the water, and that was enough for him to head back, but all while glancing back at me. He grabbed his kid by the arm and lifted him up onto the bank. And then with 2 steps, he was back up on the bank. I stayed in the water and watched them walk off, and probably a good half hour afterwards, just in case. And then I slowly worked my way back up, climbed up on the bank, and gathered my stuff, and quick as possible, while looking all around me, I scrambled my ass back to my Jeep. Unfortunately, I lost my phone in the river when I fell in, so I didn't have an ounce of proof. I spent the better part of a week trying to get the nerve up to go back. I'd never given a second thought to a Bigfoot before in my life. I didn't even watch those silly TV shows, but I started the very next day. I wanted to learn what I was up against before going back out. I saw someone make one of those Bigfoot castings, so I went out and bought the stuff. Wouldn't you know it, that same night it rained cats and dogs. It was another 4 days before me and a buddy of mine could finally go back out there, but we couldn't find anything, at least nothing definitive. You could tell it was a wildlife trail, but the only prints we found were fresh deer tracks. I can tell you this, I stood there and witnessed the most amazing 5 minutes of my entire life. If I had a choice between the moon, landing on the moon, winning $1 million, or watching that Bigfoot playing with his son on that riverbank, it would be them playing on that riverbank every single time. Even if I can't prove it, it was priceless. Well, at least with the exception of him coming close to ripping me into pieces. I honestly think in the moment he felt threatened and would have killed me. But under any other circumstance, maybe without his kid even, from what I've learned so far, understanding them, I like to think that he probably would have just walked off. So there you go, maybe the greatest fishing story ever told. Only this one is true. I'll be looking forward to hearing you share my story if and when you do. But until then, I have to go. I think I've got another bite. Laugh out loud. Mike, out. Oh my God, I love it. Mike, that's great. What a phenomenal story. Man, you are lucky because that is a fact. If with a bear, with anything protecting their children, you come between them and their children, you're a dead man. You got so lucky. Wow. Now the funny thing about that is now you're close by to me, and I think I know the area you're talking about, and that would be on the migration trail that people have talked about because we've had sightings out in Dutch Street. I did a story about that. You probably heard it or seen it. So yeah, and you know, I've been out there a few times. I've done some video out there and stuff. But wow, very cool story. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Sorry about the separation. Man, you're a riot, buddy. I tell you what, that's great. Anyway, okay. I hope all you guys enjoyed that as much as I do. So as far as updates go, I had a question from one of my members that asked if I was gonna do anything special for members aside from the great discounts that I have and to talk about Strange Store. Originally, we were gonna do the live shows for members only. At least once in a while, have that like that. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to switch to 2 live streams a month for now, because it gives my wife and I a chance to have some Sundays together as well. And we're going to do the first Sunday of every month is going to be a members only, and then the third Sunday is going to be like an open chat for us all to get together again. And we'll see how that goes. And while you're at it, you guys feel free to let me know what you think about the live shows and make any suggestions that you have. So to be fair to the members, that's what I'd like to do is have at least a live show for them the first Sunday of every month, and then the third Sunday we will all get together and talk about the episodes. All right, so that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me. Stop over to that Talk About Strange store and check that out. And if you can, join up for the membership, because we got a lot of great stuff we're going to be offering as we move forward. That's it for now, and I can't wait to see you again next time.